The hidden battles leaders must fight. Every leader eventually discovers a truth we were never formally taught. Your greatest battles are not around you. They are within you. The people you lead, the pressures you manage, the responsibilities you carry, all of them filter first through your inner world, the way that you think. In our relationships with each other, we are able to see what is on the surface, but many times we fail to address problems or the forces beneath the surface that shape decisions, reactions, and ultimately our organizations. One of the most important distinctions in human transformation and LeaderShift is the difference between the brain and the mind. Leaders who ignore the difference repeat patterns. Leaders who understand the difference break them. As leaders, we don't ignore or disregard our inner world the way that we think intentionally. Many disregard our inner battles because we've been taught that leadership requires confidence without question, presence without pain, direction without doubt, and strength without struggle. So as leaders, we learn to perform outwardly while many are collapsing inwardly. This causes many who lead within an organization while losing themselves to appear outwardly composed while wrestling in silence inwardly. The hidden battle that leaders must contend with begins with the distinction between the brain and the mind. The brain is the physical organ, the biological hardware of the human system. The mind is the interpretive engine, or the software. Our brain files, stores, triggers, and reacts. The mind interprets. As human beings and leaders, we respond to both. If we misunderstand the difference, it is most likely that we will misdiagnose the problem. Our mind assigns meaning, creates narratives, and drives perspective. The brain is tangible, a physical organ with structure, chemical reactions, pathways, and predictable patterns. It responds to trauma, adapts to repetition, strengthens through use, and weakens through neglect. Because it is physical, science can evaluate it with precision. You can analyze the brain's activity, yet still misunderstand the thoughts, beliefs, interpretations, and narratives produced by the mind. A brain scan can reveal anxiety, but it cannot explain why. It can show stress pathways, but it cannot uncover the story, the wound, or the internal meaning a person has attached through life and leadership experiences. This is why leaders must understand that the brain is our hardware, but the mind is our software, our operating system, influencing how and what we think. You can repair the hardware, but unless you renew or update the software, the same internal struggles will continue to appear, no matter how advanced one's leadership strategies may be. When the physical body is compromised, the brain's capacity shifts. A tired brain thinks slower. A stressed brain overreacts. It is important to know that while the brain determines our biological abilities, it is the mind that determines our leadership reality. A healthy brain supports our life and leadership journey, but only a renewed mind can reshape how we interpret challenges, manage emotions, and influence others. Without the transformation of the mind, even the strongest engine will not run on all cylinders, utilizing its full capabilities. The brain gives us structure, but the mind gives and provides that structure with purpose. The mind is not physical. It does not show up on an MRI or X-ray. Yet every decision, every impulse, every fear, every vision, every belief that shapes our leadership emerges from the invisible realm of our mind. Two leaders can experience the exact same situation, but their minds will determine two entirely different outcomes. One may rise, the other may retreat. One may see opportunity, the other may see only obstacles. That difference is not found in the brain's biology, but in the mind's interpretation. Consider the following illustrations. A manager gives two team members identical performance reviews, affirmations, areas for growth, and a new set of expectations. One team member hears the growth areas and thinks, "I'm failing, my manager must be disappointed in me." The other team member hears the same words and thinks, "My boss sees potential in me. I can grow from this." Same feedback, different internal narrator. One walks away discouraged, the other walks away motivated. It wasn't the review, It was the interpretation of the review. Another example may be, you send a text message and the person doesn't reply for 12 hours. A stressed mind concludes, they're ignoring me and this is disrespectful. A healthy mind concludes, they're probably busy. I'll hear from them when they can respond. Same silence, different meaning, and the body follows the mind. One person spirals into anxiety, the other continues their day with peace. The mind is not a passive observer, it is an active interpreter. Every experience we encounter in life and leadership is filtered through layers of memories from our past, our beliefs, our emotions, and our internal narratives. The brain and the mind work together constantly, and they influence each other every second. The brain provides the biological structure, neurons firing, chemicals releasing, memory circuits storing information, and the nervous system processing sensory input from our bodies and environment. Our sensory input, sight, sound, touch, taste, and smell is the body's communication system, delivering information to the brain, while the mind interprets and assigns meaning. And meaning is what ultimately drives our reactions and responses. The partnership of the brain and the mind is what makes our thoughts possible. The mind takes the raw data the brain processes and assigns meaning, value, motive, and direction. The brain tells you what happened. The mind tells you what it means. Leaders must understand this distinction between the brain and the mind, because leadership challenges rarely come from the event itself, but from how we interpret the event. When leaders understand and balance the interaction between the brain and the mind, they lead with wisdom instead of reactivity. They recognize when their brain needs rest, nourishment, or recovery. They can identify when their mind is telling a distorted story and reframe it with truth. They avoid making permanent decisions based on sensory input communicated by the body or environment that the brain has processed, choosing instead discernment over reaction. They lead others with compassion and empathy because they understand the invisible battle people carry between their brain and their mind. Leaders who master this powerful connection don't just oversee others, they cultivate their inner atmosphere that provides direction, strength, and greater impact of their leadership influence. In conclusion, the brain is the biological engine that reacts to sensory input that the body provides. The mind is the interpretive governor that gives meaning, direction, and choice concerning this input that influences how we see, think, and lead. Understanding the hidden battle of the distinction of the brain and the mind is worth the fight. Simply because when leaders shift from obeying the reactions of the brain and start governing the interpretations of their mind, transformation begins from the inside out. Hidden battles that leaders must fight.